They never would have prosecuted him if it was just a manic.
They prosecuted him on all these other things, and they did find him guilty of this, so that still counts.
The jurors don't always get it right. We don't have to agree with their decision.
I just don't know because I wasn't sitting in the courtroom. And you got to see the witnesses. Why didn't they believe Cassie? Why didn't they believe Jane?
Word from inside the walls says what's happening to Diddy isn't custody, it's carnage. This isn't just a fall from grace, it's an unraveling. According to Gene Deal, his former bodyguard, the man who once dined behind velvet ropes and white tablecloths now paces inside a 10-by-10 cell where money can't buy mercy. Deal isn't sugarcoating it. The mogul once known as Puff, Love, or simply Diddy is gone. What remains, he says, is only a shell. Hollow, fractured, moving but no longer alive. Whatever name he tries to claim carries no weight anymore, not inside the Metropolitan Detention Center. In there, names don't shield you, they make you a target.
Separate, what we know is that there will be a sentencing hearing. The prosecution has said we're going to ask for a good deal of time. We don't know exactly what that is. And the defense obviously wants no time at all. So two different hearings on two different issues. The sentencing is not today.
They say stars burn out, but nobody told him how cold it gets afterward. The entourages, the Maybachs, the yes men and paid lovers, gone. What's left is disinfectant air that stings the lungs, silence so heavy it hums, and pain that arrives right on schedule. Gene Deal, who's been dropping revelations since the trial began, is now sketching a far darker picture. According to him, the attacks aren't random, they're engineered. Diddy's been marched through a gauntlet of humiliation, beatings, and, Deal claims, forced acts so brutal they can't even be spoken on public airwaves. Acts designed to strip away dignity, sanity, and any illusion of safety. Inside, he's currency, a cautionary tale and a resource for groups with more power. No friends, no loyalty, no family calls. The lions have gone quiet. The only voices left are the ones that abandoned him. The same Gene Deal who once shadowed him through hotel lobbies and secret parties is now speaking from podcast studios and courthouse steps, sometimes trading punches with YouTubers while spilling what he says are Diddy's darkest hours behind bars. And from what we're hearing, this isn't abstract punishment. It's mechanical. There's a rhythm to it, a rhythm he can't escape, no matter how hard he claws at each flickering dawn. At 3:07 a.m., he snaps awake for count, a ritual less about safety than control. Then comes the food, if you can call it that. A dented metal tray shoved through the slot, carrying bricks of protein and rubber rice. No warmth, no choices, just fuel to keep the cycle turning.
The judge has said that was mandatory. You didn't fall within one of the exceptions. What now happens when you've been convicted of two of those particular charges? That's what the judge is going to be looking at. And again, right now, considering it sounds like statements that the defense made, essentially admitting that Sean Combs is somebody who has had personal problems, but they were doing so to try and argue that he should not be found guilty.
After that comes Wreck, the misnomer of freedom. 45 minutes in a cage that reeks of rust, sweat, and bleach. The fluorescent buzz is constant, drilling into your skull. The air tastes like pennies, drying your throat and leaving a metallic film on your tongue. Just as you start to reset, the searches hit. Gloves snap, orders bark. It doesn't matter if you're Diddy or some no-name dealer from Queens. You get stripped, prodded, reduced. They call it contraband control, but everybody knows the truth. It's psychological warfare. The real punishment isn't the beatings. It's the rhythm, the grind, the clockwork of misery. No moment belongs to you.
We just got this new audio from the Diddy trial, and it is pretty explosive. This is audio of a voicemail that Diddy left to the Jane Doe who's been testifying in this trial for the last couple days. And he sounds really annoyed. He's talking about her maybe giving him the silent treatment. And his response is, I got a busy life. I can't be dealing with your silent treatment.
Every evening, the door slams shut, like a sentence being read aloud. The echo doesn't fade. It lingers, like judgment. Darkness? Not a chance. This, according to multiple sources, is where brutality tips into something colder, more deliberate. They call it the always-on treatment. Soft torture, the kind no guard ever has to log. In Diddy's unit, the bulb never dies. It burns 24 hours a day, not for safety, not for visibility, but to grind him down. Slowly, invisibly. Sleep isn't a right in that cell. It's a negotiation. Some men win a few hours with socks pulled over their eyes, or shirts knotted into makeshift blindfolds. But rumors say Diddy isn't allowed even that much. The light above his head hums and buzzes like a weapon, eating his mind in half-hour scraps of broken rest until thought itself starts to dissolve. Sources say, it's the phrase we keep hearing, yet the leaks are too consistent to ignore. 3 former employees of MDC Brooklyn, speaking off record, confirmed the tactic exists. It's how you handle high-risk profiles, one admitted, not to protect them, to break them, before they break anything else. Picture the footage. Not courtrooms, not freak-offs, not red carpets. Just Diddy, hollow-eyed, jaw locked tight, skin dulled beneath a bulb that never dims. And every time he blinks, he opens to the same unending dawn.
They were referred to me as Wild King Nights. And what a Wild King Night was when him and a guest would go to a hotel room or be at his home, his bedroom, and they would have intimate gatherings. I would have to go and prep that hotel room, which consisted of baby oil Astroglide.
This is where the whispers grow teeth. Word is there's a shadow system running beneath the official one, a paper-thin protection racket dressed up like bureaucracy. Forget luxury. This isn't about comfort anymore, it's about survival. Want to use the phone without catching a fist to the jaw? That's a fee. Want to make it through the showers without getting cornered by men who don't care about platinum plaques or chart records? That costs extra. And if you complain, the price doesn't vanish, it doubles. Talk to staff and you won't get stabbed, but you might find your next rec slot accidentally reassigned to the wrong block. Extortion in khakis. A pay-to-breathe system where every step is taxed and every favor is temporary. And when fame can't cover the bill, the debt piles up fast.
Dishonest, violent, horrible. A promiscuous swinger who lied to and cheated on multiple partners. Incredibly, that's how Sean Diddy Combs' own lawyers described the billionaire music mogul, currently facing serious sex trafficking charges in a New York court.
Gene plays it cagey, but his eyes give more away than his words. He's hinted that Diddy's people have already shelled out more money than most inmates will see in a lifetime, just to keep him upright, not comfortable, not safe, just breathing. And even then, nothing's guaranteed. This isn't the Hilton. It isn't even Rikers. It's a meat grinder with a punch clock. Every scrap of safety comes with a price tag. And if the payments ever stop, the bill arrives in bruises, not interest. That's the corner he's backed into now. One hand over his eyes to block the light, the other reaching for the next protection payout. The mogul is gone. What's left is a shell, stuck in a loop with no exit. And tonight, we follow the money. Because inside MDC, the economy isn't about comfort, it's about survival. The jail runs like a casino that never shuts down. But here, the house always wins. The chips aren't plastic, they're ramen packs, instant coffee, minutes on the phone. Every move carries a price. A pair of sneakers isn't comfort, it's debt that better be cleared by Friday. A bar of soap isn't hygiene. It's the toll to walk a hallway without catching an elbow. A pouch of tuna can buy you silence when the next count rolls through. This is the survival economy. Every transaction logged in blood, sweat, or borrowed favors. And for someone like Diddy, the math is cruel. Fame doesn't protect him. It inflates the rates. Commissary isn't convenience. It's oxygen. And every breath costs him 3 times what the man in the next cell pays.
Let's talk about the filth that's starting to come out in the early days of the Diddy trial. This, of course, is P. Diddy. Surprise, surprise, he's a creep. Surprise, surprise, he's done horrible things.
Picture it. The same man who once inked million-dollar contracts, now bargaining for a corner seat in the chow hall. The ledgers here are invisible, but brutally precise. Miss a payment and your shower slot vanishes. Skip a payoff and the 7 p.m. phone call you were counting on gets reassigned, cutting you off from the outside world. Insiders whisper that the deadliest currency isn't ramen or sneakers. It's goodwill. Burn through that, and the collectors come calling. They don't bring clipboards, they bring scars. The higher you flew, the harder the fall. And no one's falling harder than him. If the outside world is supposed to be the anchor, what happens when the rope snaps? That's the shadow haunting Diddy. More than the fluorescent buzz above his head. Abandonment. Calls unanswered. Lawyers who once swore they'd fight now sound exhausted, like their clocks ran out of billable hours. Publicists who made careers spinning his chaos won't touch the phone. Even collaborators, the names we all know, the voices we've all sung along to, pretend they never had his number. A decade of red carpets and stage smiles, dissolved into a single blinking light on a jailhouse handset. It flashes and flashes, but no one is ever on the other end.
Was centerpiece of a lot of what happened during direct testimony were freak-offs. And what the prosecution tried to show was that he forced and or coerced her into doing these freak-offs. And we've talked about this earlier this week, that at least my opinion is that in a lot of these, the prosecution just didn't close the loop. It was something she...
Picture the montage. Old clips of him draped in diamonds, arenas roaring his name, the mogul who could turn any room into a stage. Cut to now. Bare hands gripping a steel phone, voice cracking as it hits another automated message. The same industry that once tripped over itself to stand beside him is now sprinting to erase him. His name scrubbed from playlists, projects quietly shelved, photos deleted from feeds. Nobody wants to sink into the mud with him. And what stings most is that he knows it. He feels every silence, every delay, every no comment. For a man who built an empire on connection, the disconnect cuts deeper than any slamming cell door.
So, Terrence Howard appeared on the PBD podcast with Patrick Bet-David, and the episode, this premiered on April 4th. Definitely making the rounds because in this episode, Terrence Howard describes an interaction with Diddy where he says that he believes that Diddy was trying to have sex with him. Let's take a listen.
Puffy invited me for weeks, asking me to come and wanted me to be his acting coach for a while.
Without that outer circle propping him up, the inside grows sharper. That taper protection pipeline we talked about, it develops fangs when no one outside is watching the bills. The absence of allies means the interest climbs, favors stretch thinner, and the risks multiply. A former MDC staffer hinted that high-profile inmates without steady backers often become fair game within weeks. Paperwork suggests Diddy's commissary accounts have already been drained at a rate far beyond normal patterns. He's paying double for the same protection, forced into deals just to avoid being labeled soft. The lights never dim, the debts never stop, and the result is a man unraveling frame by frame. That's the cruel compound interest of this punishment. Sleep deprivation taxed by the always-on bulb, extortion taxed by protection fees. Add them together and deterioration comes not in months, but in days. Sources close to the tier describe him as absent, a shell on autopilot, eyes glassed over, voice reduced to muttering. Exaggeration or not, the message is clear. Without advocates on the outside and allies on the inside, the system grinds even the biggest names into dust. In Diddy's case, it's happening under a spotlight that never shuts off.
That was all the people that went to the Puffy parties. That was all the people that did all those things thinking that there was never going to be a consequence for what they were doing. Get punked out and pimped out by some greater desire. You shouldn't have a greater desire than being a man. So I believe that's a big problem with a lot of the actors out there because they get fluid. And next thing you know, once you go fluid, it's gone.
Once, velvet ropes parted at a glance. Security teams moved like choreography, handlers whispering the schedule into his ear as rooms bent around his presence. The aura of celebrity was his armor, shielding him from the chaos of the crowd. But in the shift from penthouse to cell block, every one of those instincts turned toxic. The urge to command attention makes him stand out. The reflex to expect deference brands him as arrogant. What once protected him on the outside now paints a target on his back inside.
there has been no profit motive involved at all. The last word is profit.
He's already rich.
So whether or not he had the freak offs or he did whatever.
Follow the money.
Well, there is no money.
Exactly.
I mean, the freak offs aren't okay, the way in which I read it, it's not an illegal business. A freak off is a freak, or whatever these things are, right? But the profit, that last word actually got my attention because I was like,
Prison runs on an inverted hierarchy. Platinum records, TV contracts, none of it matters here. Status is measured in toughness, resources, and alliances forged in the shadows. The rules are unwritten, but everyone knows them. And in that economy, fame doesn't elevate, it isolates. Diddy's reputation, once his shield in nightclubs, is now a magnet for resentment in every hallway. The bigger your name, the more reasons people find to test it. The gestures that once screamed power, walking out front, expecting silence to trail behind, become missteps that cost him dearly. Inside, walking first means you're exposed. Acting like a boss without an army means you're bluffing. These aren't abstract errors, they're daily recalibrations. Word is, he's learning to shrink himself in spaces where he once expanded. For a man addicted to cameras, to every angle and every flash, this new invisibility is its own punishment.
Well, I think it's heating up, and I think she has to make that statement at this point because a lot of people are making accusations. I'm sure there's an issue in terms of the federal investigation and what's going on with the federal investigation and if they're going to be interviewing her or using her as a witness. So my belief is all those things are coming to a head, and I think that now is the time that she had to come out with something.
It's a re-education in real time. The velvet rope that once set him apart is gone, replaced by razor wire that locks him in with men who measure status by survival alone. Every movement becomes calculation, a lowered gaze, a shift in posture. It isn't humility, it's strategy. The same charisma that once electrified arenas now works against him. In the mess hall, confidence reads as a challenge, weakness reads as an invitation. What made him untouchable on the outside marks him as vulnerable on the inside.
The next suit is filed by a man from California who claims Sean Combs raped him in 2009.
Consider the irony. A mogul who built an empire by commanding attention now survives by deflecting it. He's forced to unlearn habits that once earned him millions. The instinct to scan a room, to lock eyes with rivals or recruits, gone. Now it's about staring at the floor, letting moments pass unanswered, practicing invisibility. Every day is a crash course in erasing himself, in undoing a lifetime of performance. For an entertainer, that erasure is its own slow torture. Even clothing tells the story. Outside, custom suits and designer sneakers announced identity. Inside, the uniform strips him down to sameness. But sameness isn't safety. It's camouflage, and it only works if you never break character. Rumors say he's struggling with the transition, that every small slip, a walk with too much swagger, a tone with too much command, betrays him. And in here, difference isn't respect. Difference is bait.
And in their complaint, Diddy's attorneys were saying that NBC Universal made the assumption that their client has committed numerous heinous crimes, including serial murder, R of minors, and S trafficking of minors.
Fame, instead of offering immunity, guarantees surveillance. Every eye follows his tray in the cafeteria. Every ear tilts toward his words in the yard. What he eats, how he moves, who he speaks to, each detail becomes a data point, used to decide whether to extort, exploit, or ignore. On the outside, scrutiny sold magazines and headlines. In here, scrutiny calculates risk and opportunity. And Diddy himself is the experiment in progress. The fall from velvet rope to razor wire isn't just physical, it's psychological. The mind that once thrived on applause now jolts at laughter behind his back. The man who built a legacy on orchestrating control now has his days chopped into segments by buzzers and guards. The loss of autonomy cuts deeper than any verdict. It's not just a sentence, it's the dismantling of identity, the stripping of the performance that once defined him.
In the moment, it just felt like, what? Like, is this fun for him? Is this like a test?
In here, survival demands adaptation. Every mistake is recorded, every bruise a lesson. The education is brutal, but it works. Forget the old rhythms, learn the new. Forget being first, focus on being unseen. Forget commanding loyalty, focus on buying time. This inversion is the true cost of fame behind bars. A reversal so stark it reframes the entire scandal. It's no longer about courtrooms or verdicts. It's about whether a man trained to dominate can learn, fast enough, how to disappear. From velvet rope to razor wire, the arc is complete. This isn't just a legal battle or a fall from grace. It's a reprogramming of survival itself. And the question that lingers is cruel in its simplicity. Can a man who lived by being seen ever learn how to live by being invisible?
This is the first time that I'm speaking about it. Something that I'll never forget, actually.
We're left with the same questions that hover around every scandal, only louder now, as the debts pile up and the lights never go dark. Something has to give. The mind, the body, or both. So we have to ask, what are we witnessing here? Justice? Vengeance? Or a slow-motion execution carried out one fluorescent hum at a time? New revelations could surface any hour, and when they do, the picture may only get darker. Until then, it's your call. Is this a fall from grace or a system built to erase? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this story is far from finished. For now, stay safe, stay loud, and we'll be back before the lights flicker off.